Now the job for excretion. Excretion is this process to separate the waste from the body fluids and eliminate them from the body. What fluid are we going to be dealing with? It's blood. And then we get urine formation in the kidneys. There are 4 organ systems that function in excretion, but outside of the urinary system, they do it so minor that it's hardly recognizable. So if the urinary system were to fail, there's no way that these other 3 systems can compensate for what the kidneys do. So we get some help from the respiratory system, the integumentary system, the digestive system, but trust me when I say that the urinary system is the main portion for excretion. It is the main portion. So what is it that we get to have in this beautiful system? The biggest part of the system, the kidney. Don't know about y'all. I kind of like it. All right? And we call it kidney bean shaped for a reason. All right? Now, the structure, okay, as we begin to move into this anatomy, like I said, they are retroperitoneal. Okay? Just a little, you're going to find them, I think, starting roughly, because one's higher on one side, one's lower, and starting at roughly around T9, T10. Okay? So there's a little bit of protection to this organ from the rib cage. But other than that, they're exposed. Okay? So they are retroperitoneal, about the size of a bar of soap. We have this area right here called the hilum. So if we look at this indentation, the hilum is where we're going to see the nerves, the blood vessels, the lymphatics, the ureter. So in what we have for us, okay, it's giving us a very good view of the renal artery, the renal vein, and then beginning the ureter. All right? On this organ, there are 3 layers of connective tissue. We have a renal fascia, and if you remember from the tissue chapter, fascia means a sheet, okay? This helps to bind the kidney to the abdominal wall. We have a perirenal fat capsule, meaning when we die, well, let's see, do I have some kidneys? If I can find some kidneys, we'll dissect them on Monday, and you'll notice this fatty tissue that'll be around it because it helps with protection, cushioning, that sort of thing. And then, of course, we have this fibrous capsule kind of being represented here that helps to enclose the kidney. If we begin to look at a cross section, once again, retroperitoneal, little bit of protection from the thoracic cage. So if we take this cross section and do like this, flip it up, okay, this is how we would see the kidney on this cross section. Just cut straight across, all right? So here's our hilum, this fibrous capsule, the fat that's around it, the fascia that's helping to hold it to the abdominal wall. All right? Now, as we begin to look at tissue that becomes deeper for the kidney, okay, our glandular tissue, and I wish that these were a little more detailed. However, we'll do the best we can, okay? But note that the tissue gives us this really nice C shape, okay, as it goes around. Now, this C shape, it encircles what we call the renal sinus. And if you remember anything about the term sinus, you know that that's going to be this like space, okay? So we're going to find blood, lymph vessels, nerves, and then what we term our urine collecting ducts. All right? So just hang with me. But is everybody kind of following me where I'm pointing?
Is the little yellow spots?
That's going to be our little yellow spots.
Okay.
That's what they're trying to represent. Yeah.
The renal sinus is the yellow.
The collecting ducts. And this whole area is our renal sinus. Because we're going to have the ureter that leaves. We're going to have the artery. We're going to have the vein. We're going to have the nerves, okay, that are in there. Is it recognized on that one, Morgan?
No, it talks about the major calyx and the minor calyx.
Yeah, and we
But
just,
those are within the.
but see, those are going to be, they're microscopic, so I didn't know if maybe they were representing it in one of those or not. Okay. Now, this structure that we have, it's divided into the two zones. We're going to find that we have the renal cortex, the outer portion, okay? The inner portion, the medulla. All right? The renal cortex, we're going to see, has renal columns, and they begin to project downward in between what's going to be termed these pyramids, and they project downwards towards the renal sinus. So you see the little pink areas in between these red pyramids, okay? That's going to be renal columns. It helps divide this medulla into roughly 6 to 10 pyramids. So we have pyramid, 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 and a healthy kidney is going to have roughly 6 to 10 of these pyramids going around this little C shape.
So with the columns, are the columns the pyramids?
Mm-mm.
Or they're in between?
They're in between.
They're like-
So if you see this red, 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 red pyramid,
Yeah.
projecting down between each one of them is a column,
Oh, okay.
okay?
So these are pyramids?
The red's the pyramid, and in
And that's a
between
column.
them, that pink in between is a renal column.
And the whole red C is the medulla.
Right. Well, this like region is medulla, outer region cortex.
Okay.
This is what one looks like. Then we've got to just cut through. So this outer region through here, cortex. Note, okay, not a huge area. A lot of the chunk of this kidney is going to be our medulla. Now, the medulla, if we begin to look at this structure, okay, all this stuff that's in the middle going around, leading into this sinus, all right, that's our medulla. Now, in the medulla, what we're going to find, and I'm going to go over each one of these, renal papilla, a renal sinus, our adipose tissue. We're going to have what's termed the renal pelvis. We're going to have a major calyx, minor calyx, a renal column, a pyramid. They're showing us the ureter right here coming off of the sinus, okay? And then we're going to have our blood vessels, the blood supply, okay? So we're going to continue to break this down. Is everybody following me? Okay, so the renal pyramids, this cone-shaped apparatus, all right? The broad base of it is here at the cortex. At the apex, we're meeting, the point is our renal papilla right here at the sinus. So think of that tip, okay? That's the papilla. Okay, is everybody with me? When we talk about a lobe of the kidney, a lobe of the kidney is one of these pyramids and the cortex that's over top of it. So if you look at this area, that would have this pyramid and this cortex, that would be considered one lobe. So if I look at this one that I'm looking at, it's showing me 5 lobes. How did I do that? I counted my pyramids. Okay? So that's considered one lobe of the kidney. That papilla gets nestled in a minor calyx. The job here, collection of urine. The urine, basically, the minors converge to form a major. Majors converge to form the renal pelvis.
What's the difference between the pelvis and the sinus?
The pelvis is going to refer to this area right below the cones. The sinus is the whole area with all of these cones coming into it.
Okay.
Okay? The ureter is going to be the tubular connection that when the urine gets formed, okay, where the urine will enter and leave. Is everybody with me? So this is sort of what it looks like. So, cortex, medulla, pyramid. The pyramid comes into the papilla, all right? The papilla is going to make its way into this renal sinus. The renal pelvis begins to have all this collected stuff that's going to get to leave, okay? Our major calyx, note how they're trying to represent. The major calyx has a lot of the minors coming into it, okay? So they're trying to show right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 minors coming into the major. Does everybody see how I did that? Okay. The renal column, that area that's projecting between a pyramid, 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 okay? The ureter, this nice tube that's leaving, and then they're trying to show us our blood vessels.
Where's the one lobe?
One lobe would be this pyramid and the cortex surrounding it. Like this cortex flowing into this medulla, this would be one lobe. This would be a second lobe. Yeah, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, this one would have 6 lobes. Morgan?
So the little extensions from the pyramid, the branching, that's the minor, and then what joins those three together is the major?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
There's like collecting ducts on this one.
No, because those are gonna be microscopic,
Okay.
okay?
But
So,
they're right near the papilla, correct?
not right near it, but they're gonna be part of what leads into that area, okay? Yes, no, maybe.
So this does not show the minor innervation, correct?
Not very well, no. Because it's, like I said, it's not as detailed as I would want it to be. But if we were to try to point something out, we could have, like at the tip of these, be the minor leading into the major. Okay? Because the major is gonna be right there at the ureter. All right?